This is a quick video review of the Dremel Versatip 2000. I just want to go over some basic points about the tool. I read several reviews before I got it, and there were a lot of questions about what you couldn't do with it. I'm not going to really get into depth on all of the different things you can do with each tip, but I wanted to take a minute and just go over a few of the basic tips and talk about how you could use them, and then talk about the tool. As you can see, it's fairly compact. The whole back is filled with fuel. And if you don't know this already, you can buy butane fuel in a very simple refill container like this one. This is the Ronson one. Seems like a good brand. And it's very easy to fill. You simply attach the nozzle here in the back to the front, and if you've never refilled a lighter, you just press it in, and this is filled with aerosol, and it will spray it in. No problem at all. Easy to get that, and you can get that at most home centers and even online from some places. The device itself is very simple. As you can see, there's a couple small switches on the side for power. But the main thing you're going to be doing here is this switch right here. There's a safety, which you push forward, and you pull back, and boom, it's lit. And you hold that, and the fire stays on. As you can see, right now I have the blower tip on. I'm going to point that a little bit toward the camera, but I'm going to keep it way far away because it produces a fair amount of heat. And since I have that blower tip on right now, I thought I'd quickly show working with some solder. Now, this is not the solder that comes with it. This is just some basic welding solder that I happen to have around. And after a minute, this is going to get hot enough, and you're going to see the solder start to heat up. Now, it's a little slow doing this during a video, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because there were some questions about whether you could solder with this, whether you could do actual welding. Well, you can solder. This is not hot enough for doing most welding applications, though. So, I just want to show you real quick there. Boom. I've melted that solder right there, and you can see that it's now liquid on this board. So it is hot enough for those applications. It comes with some very simple electrical solder right here. I'll do the same there with the blower tip, although I'll show in a minute it does have a welding tip as well. So I'm sort of just showing this for the heck of it. As you can see, it melted a little bit of the metal on there. Now, just like all Dremel tools, everything's about the little wrenches that it comes with, which is nice because in this case, this is red hot right now. So obviously you would not want to be touching this. So I'm going to use the wrench. I'm going to remove the open flame tool there, and I'm going to quickly put on one of the other tips that I, of course, put under there. And this is the actual welding tip. I'm going to try to be careful. The welding tip's going to get pretty hot pretty quick because the rest of it's already hot. Good, I managed to get it on there. So this is the tip you would actually use mostly for welding. So I'll pull out a little more solder, and I'll get it hot again. And as you can see, pretty straightforward. Just like most welding tools, or sorry, most soldering tools that you would use. I use a simple electric solder myself for the most part. I do like that this is very portable. As you can see, I can easily solder. You can see the smoke coming off and the solder coming onto the, actually really onto the device. Wood isn't the best surface to be testing this on, but as you can see, it came off. I'll quickly wipe that off with a wet sponge so it doesn't get all gummed up. And there we go. So that's two of the tools. And I'll go just a little bit, and I'll put it down here. As you can see, just like most welding tools, it has the nice balanced side here so that when you put it down, the hot tip isn't touching the ground. It's pretty obvious. Most tools, like my old welding tool, has a little piece that came with it to rest it on. So that's kind of nice that it has that built in. I'll quickly go through some of the other pieces. I don't use them too much, but you can see the applicability of some of them. There's two. This one has a knife, so you could use this for cutting through all sorts of things. I've done something very similar with my soldering tool, cutting through some plastics, where some woven plastics, to burn the ends so that they would weld together. So these tips would be useful for that. This is a shaping tool, as you should be able to see, hopefully. It's more of a wedge shaped, which is useful for other applications. This one I haven't ever actually used. It's a deflecting tool, so the idea would be the heat comes up and hits the back of it, and the rest of it gets warm, and you could use that to sort of melt things on the back of it. In theory, you could use that for melting the insulation on electrical wiring. Hasn't ever come up for me. And then there's the diffusion tool, which obviously blows a wider amount of heat over a wider area. And that could be used for scraping paint, for example. I honestly, it's hard to imagine using something like this for scraping paint when you could get a simple air gun to do the same thing. So for me, it's mostly about the soldering. I look at this as a very portable, very lightweight soldering device. Very powerful, gets hot much faster than an electrical soldering iron, and certainly has some applicability. I think, people have sort of been asking what are the use cases for using this. That's the one for me. I think there's other use cases you could have. People who do wood carving, obviously with some of these tools like this tip, you could do some nice wood carving if you wanted to. It's not what I'm into, but obviously it would work for that. One final thing, the case and the cover it comes in. It comes with this nice cover, which is actually very nice because, as you can see, it's breathable. So even if the tip is hot, you can put this on there to protect it if you need to put it away quickly. And then it comes with a really nice metal case. I was kind of surprised. I didn't realize it came with this. Little foam and little inset on the inside to put all the pieces in. They fit exactly in there. Kind of a nice touch. Because something like this, you do, at least I do, use it pretty irregularly. So it's nice to know that all of the pieces are accounted for. I have a lot of Dremel tools, and sometimes you lose pieces because you don't have the exact spot to put them in. Anyway, good tool. For me, it's mostly been applicable for only certain use cases, but I can see other use cases for this. I think it'll appeal to a wide variety of audiences. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video.